So morning of 9/11, I was working on a project downtown in DC, but I stayed home that day because I was feeling a little bit like I had the flu. It was a Tuesday morning. My wife and I were actually a little late going to work, so we were watching TV, and we were watching the Today Show, and you started hearing about what was happening in New York, not sure what it was, and as we were watching the Today Show, we actually saw the second plane hit the building. Well, we moved around a lot. It seemed like every 2 or 3 years we were moving because my dad was in the Army. I remember Rolla, Missouri was a great place where we lived. We played Little League Baseball, had Cub Scouts. Those were places where we'd go off and explore. I mean, you would go and leave in the morning with a bagged lunch and just kind of walk through the woods, through the creeks, and just kind of spend time, with my brothers just out exploring. That's what I remember growing up with my brothers when because we moved around so much, we were kind of our own best friends wherever we lived. We got into sports, Little League sports, football, baseball. So we all ended up kind of settling in this area, met people that we fell in love with, got married, started having kids. Mike ended up graduating from the University of Virginia, ended up getting into the civil service. Dave ended up graduating from Brown, worked at the Pentagon in kind of a management training program. I can remember playing in an adult softball league with Dave and Mike. So it was fun as we got into our 30s and 40s. Still kind of playing sports together, and that being kind of a focal point for us. Jim Miklaszewski from NBC News came on and said, "I don't want to alarm people, but we think the Pentagon's just been hit." And I knew Dave wasn't sure if he had moved into his new office or he was still in temporary offices in Crystal City, so I wasn't thinking anything about it. He would leave his car in Manassas, and he'd catch a ride with various people throughout the day who were trying to fill up their car to get on the HOV lanes, the high occupancy lanes. So I kept thinking, well, he's just going to walk up to the house and everything will be fine. Eventually I went down to Lori's house. You never heard from Dave, and you kind of knew or kept having the sinking feeling that the longer you didn't hear from him, the worse it got. And my sister's husband, Dan, was a DC homicide cop, and I think he was the one that kind of told us that no one would probably be coming out of that attack. You weren't going to find survivors. After 9/11, shortly after the family members got together, got involved in a project working with the Pentagon. We helped create this memorial that we're at today. I can remember coming here with my wife, and one of my favorite things, or what I wanted to do, was kind of sit in a corner of the memorial and kind of look out over the benches as the sun was setting and the lights were coming on, and I was able to do that with my wife and kind of be there. That was a very special moment for me to kind of be here as the sun was setting, and no one else was here. It was just my wife and I, and that was a very special memory for me.